Hey, Road Trippers. It's your Road Trippin fam here. Allie Clifton, Channing Frye, Richard Jefferson. And we would love to tell you about a product that we personally use every single day and we love. If you follow us on social media, if you follow the podcast, whether watching or listening, I'm sure you know exactly where we're headed with this. It's called Athletic Greens, AG1. We all take it, love it. 1 scoop and 8 ounces of water. We'll tell you a little bit about it, but first, guys, you're still using it every single day. Packets, scoop in the water, on the go.
Scoop it and dupe it.
Scoop it and dupe it, huh?
Scoop it and chug it.
Scoop it and chug it. That's how we like to do it. Huh, Richard?
Sometimes when things are going well.
Rich, you were actually just traveling for a week.
That's the only thing, honestly.
Did you take your AG1 with you?
The only thing that kind of keeps me regimented, because sometimes the workouts come and go on the road. Sometimes the eating healthy comes and goes on the road. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the 2 things that are the first thing that go. But like, if you can keep a healthy, packet, just something that kind of keeps you going, so you're not eating Starbucks coffee and cheddar sandwiches every freaking morning on the road. Like, so that's what I do. I have that as my breakfast. I'm good. I keep it pushing.
So it gives you a peace of mind, packed with 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food, source superfoods, and even probiotics. I'm a big fan because I have been able to eliminate every other daily vitamin in pill form, which is nice. Opening every single bottle and making sure I'm taking the correct ones. It's all in 1 packet or 1 scoop. Again, we love it. And with season coming, Channing's getting back on the road as well. It's just that daily assurance for us. So to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you 1 free year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/roadtrippin and take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance today. Again, go to athleticgreens.com/roadtrippin and get started today. All right, welcome into this edition of Road Trippin with RJ and Channing. I'm your host, Allie Clifton, and we have a special guest that you can see on this screen, and you're probably like, which team does he play for? Who he play for?
Jimmer!
We could have one of those episodes. But before we dive into all things NBA, we are going to turn this into a pretty heavy NBA podcast because there are some people out there that want to know why Richard and Channing both don't want to talk about or utilize the word Miami Heat. When it comes to the Eastern Conference. We got to get to the bottom of that. There was a bunch of things that happened in the NBA this week. But first, if you listen or watched our episode last week, which apparently a bunch of people have, our guest, Andrew Jaspin, didn't even know he had a first name, Andy.
Don't feel bad, Allie. No one ever does.
Okay, here is the backstory. Episode 2 of Road Trippin' was filmed in a hotel room in New Orleans. And Andy Jaspin was there. He listened to us, and as he so eloquently just put, we used to just have 1 microphone in a wine glass, and we would all just shout into it. And here we are, episode 2, 15, and he is back because last week Richard came in hot on Road Trippin', and here's the guy as to why. So we want to get to the bottom of both of this, but if you didn't listen to last week, I'm going to give you a snippet of what we're going to discuss. So take a listen first.
I open up the text chain to just see all this stuff's going on. Jaspin's in there talking shit about me. He's in there like, oh yeah, I'm not Richard's partner. I'm not on his team. He's like, yeah, text Richard. His team sucks. And I'm like, motherfuck, what? I'm like, bitch, I have not questioned you 1 time about your draft. Privately or publicly, I'm like, bro, it's fine. It's week 3 because I'm just trying to make him feel good about himself, get him back into the league because he used to be in the league. Then it got priced out of his range, and then the league started doing some different shit. But whatever, it's not his fault. He's the best friends of a bunch of like millionaire basketball players, right? Like Jazz, like, come on, he knows.
Okay, that's our guy,
and he still doesn't know how to turn his phone on vibrate.
My phone is off. Oh my goodness, guys! I'm so
maybe
sorry
it's someone
about
else.
that.
Okay, so then our guy
there goes
is
the Louisiana coming out. My fault, fellas.
Oh my God, y'all, my bad. Yeah. So again, and Allie, please finish. I don't know. Far be it for me to cut you off before you were finished telling where we were and where we're going. But
No, all it is how was your week? Because everyone in the world just found out that you're not a good fantasy football.
you think my phone's blowing up
teammate.
now? Yeah. Well, you think my phone's blowing up now, right? You should have seen it last week when this thing hit. I didn't even know I had so many friends from around
No, you didn't. You don't. You don't have so many friends. You don't have so many friends.
Well, you're right.
We need to refresh this. Former acquaintance.
I need to know your side of the story.
Yeah, and
I'm going to recap. I'm going to recap, and I'm going to set the stage for Jasmine. Jasmine was in the official league when it started. All of our boys. Jasmine eventually moved on to New Orleans, and he lived in New Orleans. And one of the things and one of the perks of being friends of NBA players is that Jasmine was always the go-to in New Orleans, right? No, but I don't know anybody in New Orleans. I know no one. And Jazz is like, hey, you want to go to dinner? You want to go to dinner? Leave me a couple tickets. We'll go to dinner. I'll show you the spots. We'll hang out. We'll have a great time. And look, if you're a traveling circus, as we often are, sometimes you just want to catch up with an old buddy, have a beer, just whatever. So Jasmine, when he was in New Orleans, he was that stop for many NBA guys. Now, Jasmine recently moved back to Los Angeles, back to God's country, the South Bay. He's back, right? How many years were you gone, Jazz? How many years were you gone? A decade.
10. Yeah.
He moves back, and so a couple weeks ago, I was forced to miss our draft, which I've only done twice in the history of our 15, 17-year draft. Missed it twice. I was forced to miss it because I was asked to host a panel for our guy Lynn Merritt, the Godfather. He just retired from Nike. He's that dude. So I had to miss it. So I was like, Jazz, you want to take over and draft for me? He's like, well, sure. Where's drafted? I'm like, SoFi Stadium. This is where it is.
And I knew the parameters.
He knows the parameters. Next game. Everybody's like, so does Jasmine? So after the draft, everybody's like, does Jasmine get to come to the game? Does Jasmine get to come to the game? Because the whole team, all the draft guys that were drafted the day before went to opening night.
I haven't seen in 8, 9, 10 years, right? Now, I'm not talking about our best friends. I'm not talking about the Nates, the Lukes, the Richards, and the Geets and the Scotty C's of the world. But a lot of these guys I haven't seen in 10 years. So I come back in the room and everybody's like, hey, dude, you're back. Like, we knew you lived here. You're back in the league.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And thank you. And thank you for that, Richard. Listen, never would I sit here and deny my excitement to come back into the things that are associated and that we get to do with this league, right? So first and foremost, now did Richard do me 100% of a favor? We've known Richard a long time. Does Richard ever do anybody 100% of a favor without maybe making sure it's going to come? No, thank you. So let's be honest.
Game of Thrones is one of the most popular TV shows of all time. You don't do a favor without something in your back pocket.
You're playing chess and everyone else is playing checkers, and I get that. And thank you for the invite. Was I his first choice? Probably. He'll say I wasn't. But combination of football knowledge, who's going to get along? Of course, I was the first choice. I'm the logical. So let's get past that, and we agree. We agree. Couple of things about the draft. So first and foremost, I did draft a New Orleans Saints heavy draft. Guys, I thought this was our year. I want to back up. The team that we drafted, and I'll show it right now. Richard, I'd even challenge you. I've never seen it since that day, but I drafted a pretty good team. I didn't question.
But this is the thing. This is the thing. I never questioned his team. Where the mistake happened was our guys underperformed. I never said anything. Guys would be
when everything went wrong.
Listen, no, stop. Wait a second. It's my fucking podcast. You wait.
Don't you dare.
Don't you dare. I knew I wasn't going to come on here and win an argument. I mean, come on.
No, hell no.
The point is this. I made a mistake. I personally, as the captain GM, I made a mistake. And I did not. My guys were questionable. Winston and Kamara were questionable, but they were playing in London, so there wasn't time to change it because the game started at like 5 a.m.
Everybody went to.
So I wake up at 7:30, and people are going ham on as they should. I take it. What I wasn't expecting was the knife in my back,
and I want to talk
sending the pitchforks and the wolves after me, draping my body in blood and leaving me out there in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So I wake up to that, and then that's when this whole thing started. Go ahead, Jazz.
And
what was your
going,
excuse?
And going from that point, and this is where the argument really happened. And and let's be honest, offline there was an argument. This wasn't for dramatic purposes for the show. We had a really unpleasant Sunday, Richard and I, last weekend. Okay.
No, you had an unpleasant one. I had a great
unpleasant Sunday. Richard's Sunday was fine, apparently. But really, what I said on the thread, and it was regrettable. It was an ill-timed, regrettable comment at the time. And what I said was, what I was trying to say is, don't look at me. All I did was draft. And since that time, I literally haven't seen our lineup. I don't even know what platform we're on. Is it ESPN? Is it Yahoo? I've never been given the keys of the kingdom, and that's okay. But what I was trying to say was, and this was a bad joke, I said, ha, ha, ha. Don't look at me. Richard's managing. I said, yes, Richard's team sucks. The thinking was that everyone on that text
that's all you said? That's all you said?
Is
that all you said? Wait, Jasmine, is that all you said?
What did I say? Don't look at me. Look at Richard.
You said Richard's team sucks. Go heckle him. I had zero involvement in the second we left it. Couldn't even tell you who's on this team. Do you see how he's trying to minimize it? Richard's team sucks. It's like,
okay, I should not have aired that grievance to the group, but I wanted them to know. I needed them to know that, and let's be honest, that since that night when we left SoFi, you and I, and you made it expressly clear to me, Richard, hey, I'm so glad to have you back in this league, but it ain't going to be on my team.
I have a general manager that helps me. Jasmine, in the effort to get Jasmine back, now he's back in LA, I invited him to be proxy, but I can't have a third person here on my team and have two. Like, this isn't like this was an invitation to, hopefully, if an opportunity presents itself, maybe we go to one more team. Who knows? Then Jasmine could be on the short.
I'd front for you, Jasmine. I'd front for you.
Channing had some moments. Channing had a moment where he thought about, he's like, I'm thinking about joining another fantasy league, and I was like,
Channing, let's go. I mean, you and me in this thing. Now, listen, I'll say this, and I did apologize to Rich because the way it came off on that Sunday morning was wrong, the way that I sort of reflect. But I needed the crew
Would you like to read your apology?
No, we don't have to do that.
Yeah, I think we should.
I think that's how we need to bring this to a close.
Yeah,
this is how. Now, that's what I said. Gamblers ×2 is my name. And I said, we are aware of comments made earlier and will be making an official statement shortly. We will have no further comment at this time.
I needed to cool down.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Would you like to read it, or would you like me to read it, Jazz?
Well, my phone's off, so go ahead and read it.
Thank God. All right. Then Jasmine, this is the official statement made from our front office. Jasmine, as an official consultant to Gamblers ×2, I feel there's a clarification and apology are in order. I made some regrettable comments very early this morning as I watched my states get dismantled at 6 a.m. My Richard team sucks laugh out loud comment was a poorly timed joke at my own terrible drafting, was inappropriate, regrettable, and most importantly, not what we here at Gamblers ×2 are about. Please rest assured that absolutely nobody in our building is concerned with our team's performance on the field. We trust in our guys 1,000%. We look forward to that bearing out over the course of the long season ahead.
Great apology, right? And I think
you could work for the Warriors, bro. You could work for the Warriors.
I was about to say that was like a professional release. Like, what?
Per my last email.
I write these things all day. But, at the end of the day, I think Channing was right, last week. I think we just had an ownership and a misunderstanding. Ownership and GM happens all the time. I misunderstood my role. I think Richard needs to communicate that a little better going forward with what exactly
I'm a fantastic communicator.
Richard, communicate? Come on, Jasmine. Come on.
And the truth
all right, time
free.
for Jasmine to go.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, before you leave, Jasmine, what is the lesson learned?
The lesson learned is obviously don't fire off emotional tweets at 7 a.m., right, to the guys.
Don't stab your friend in the back.
Well, that might be one, but let's communicate, right? Communication up front can prevent so much miscommunication.
It can prevent stabbing. Stabbing.
I would never stab. My loyalty's never been questioned. But again, thank you, and I want to thank all of you for platforming me today to at least give me the voice. Okay, to tell the side of the story. Hey. I still to this day haven't seen our lineup or who's on our bench. We'll get there, Rich. I know we will.
You're gonna need to know basis. You're gonna need to know basis.
Until then, have you guys won a game yet?
Oh God, Richard, have we? I don't know.
This week will be our first. Mind you, he tried to walk in there swinging his cock like, bro, I lost in the finals last year. I know how to do fantasy football. Like,
I
let's
know.
just, it's okay.
I know. Hey, we'll get there. We'll get there. Send me a screenshot of how we did today.
I'm proud
Jasmine,
of you.
you're
I'll send you
amazing.
a screenshot.
Thank you, guys.
You're amazing.
Love you guys.
Thanks for joining.
Love you.
Bye.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
All right, so we knew we had to get to the bottom of that after it was a very heavy, heated moment for Richard last week. So that is Andrew Jaspin. Thank God we knew he had a first name. His side of the fantasy draft story. Good luck to the rest of your league, Rich. Guys, a lot has happened, or it so feels like. Let's start with the big conversation and topic that happened this week, and then we'll get a little bit lighter as it goes on. But the news out of Golden State with Draymond Green and the incident altercation with his teammate Jordan Poole. I know that some of you are listening to this podcast, but for those of you that are viewing, we do have the video right here. And I think there's a lot of different ways that we can kind of discuss this and get your thoughts. But I think I just want to start with your reaction, how this has all transpired. And there was an article out there in the Athletic regarding how the video leaking certainly has changed everything. And so let's just start with your initial thoughts when you heard this about the altercation. And then obviously from the video leaking. I know, Richard, you posted that this happens more than we think. But that Draymond and what he did obviously wasn't cool.
Yeah. Now I want to hear, Channing, how many times? So you played in the league 13 years?
13 years.
13 years. How many? Now I'm not talking about that where that looked that there was something just there that was off, right? Because that
it was a little ferocious.
That was, I've seen two guys elbow one, blah, blah, get clubbed, get mad, guys talk and then start swinging, blah, blah, but like there was something about that felt like different, right? That being said, yeah.
Hang on, can I stop you right there and just ask you, is this what you guys are saying based off of when you first initially heard, or once the video was released?
Well, once the video was released.
Once the video released.
So initially...
Yeah, we thought it was just
there's lots of context,
yes,
even with the video being out. To me, it still falls under the line of this happens in practice. It still falls under the line, in my opinion. It still falls under the line. It doesn't change that there's some that are soft, right? Is like we've seen them happen, and guys are sitting at the same dinner table that night. Right. Like, and then you've seen other ones where it was like somebody's getting traded. Even like when you look at Bobby Portis and Miritic, when he got hit and suffered an orbital fracture and there was
he punched him out the league.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying is like that was a big, you could tell that was different. Right. It was still handled internally. They suspended Bobby Portis and all the things. So it still falls under the line of shit you've seen. But now that we can put context to it and you're watching it and you're just like, yeah, that wasn't, they got tangled up and they elbowed him and they were down there bumping each other and had been building up over practice. The context that we see is just very, and reputation goes a long way. Reputation goes far in this, right? Like if there was somebody with not quite the reputation doing this exact thing, was like, what the hell did Jordan Poole say? Right? Like what? Like, but with Draymond, there's already this reputation, whether he deserves it or not. We just have to be honest that the context of who he is and who he's been goes into what you see. But like, how many times have you seen that, Channing? In your not that punch, but just a fight in practice?
Oh, at least once a year. At least once a year.
So double digits.
It's
crazy.
Impossible. Yeah. It's impossible to, when you put a bunch of wolves in a ring and they go at each other, you forget your teammates. Like, you can't be soft in practice and then just turn it on. Like when we were on the Cavs, T. Lue wouldn't let us practice against each other because the minute that we stepped on the floor, there's a different switch. Like all of us want to win, and then certain people's motors and what makes them special is their internal dialogue of what they tell each other or how they talk to somebody. Like you can't not, like Gary Payton, I'm pretty sure the biggest shit talker ever, didn't just talk shit to other people. In practice, he was probably talking shit to his teammates. You have to be that way all the time. You just can't turn it on. So like Draymond is Draymond all the time. That is a little out of pocket even for me, just the swing. But I was reading, every athlete sees these things and they realize it's going to happen. Two things that I would say. One, if somebody's pushing you, everyone says, oh, NBA players don't swing and NBA player, blah, blah, blah. Well, somebody finally did, and now it's the end of the world. But for me, two things. One, and I agree with Dame on this, the next time somebody gets in your airspace, you got to keep them hands up. Protect yourself. And then number two, if somebody's, rolling up on you, you got to just take the worst, right? And either back up or you got to handle your business. But I thought like just pushing somebody, that wasn't probably what I would have done. Anyways, but Draymond, the violent intent of that punch was probably one of the worst ones I've seen. But again, he didn't hit him again. It wasn't like he just wanted to get a lick in and it was over, right? Like, and the coach next to him had his hands on his hips, like,
but he also fell against the wall. So like he went back against the wall because again, he was probably caught off guard, right? Yeah. Like it's not a sucker punch from this, in my opinion. If someone is in your airspace, and obviously there was conversation that led to that. If someone's in your airspace, you have every right to push them, and get them off. But understand, at that point in time, once you guys, before you even push him, there has been an established situation that you need to be as a human being. I don't care if my son was in the park. I'm like, so he started talking to you? Yeah, what happened? Then he got to my chest. I'm like, so what'd you do? He's like, well, I pushed him. And I was like, well, what'd he do? He was like, he punched me. And I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. That sounds about right. I swear to God, on my two little boys, the first official basketball tournament I ever played in, this kid pushed me and I punched him back. Right? Like, this is a normal reaction.
Threw Dan Dick out.
Yeah, I had choked Dan Dick out in summer league game and threw him because he hit me. He like, when you try and wrap somebody up, he flung his hand and hit me in my face. I was like, oh, hell no. And, look, shit happens.
Which we're not here, obviously, we're not here to make light of, obviously, fighting and stuff like that. We're here to make a joke. In a sense, though, I do want to say this because you said it from the very top. There is so much context that goes into this. And having said that, again, the altercation happened on Wednesday. The team addressed it. It was said that Draymond apologized to the team and Jordan Poole on Thursday. And we were probably just going to go on with our lives and see how, they were able to work with one another and get back and build that trust, et cetera. Then is the next layer to this. Obviously, the video gets leaked on Friday and Saturday. Respect to Draymond. I don't care what anyone wants to say. I had this conversation with Rich this morning. There was only one individual after that video was released or leaked that needed to be heard, and that was Draymond Green. And he sat up there and he took questions. He didn't go hide, as he said, and run to his podcast to not answer any questions. But having said all of this, where do they go from here? In a sense, you guys mentioned, no. I think it comes to, no.
What?
And again, I'm not, no. Oh, yeah. Well, hang on. My whole thing here is I'm not questioning what you guys are saying because I am smart enough to know that you guys, through your experience and everything, have seen this before. What my question here to better understand and learn the difference is because the video was leaked, we don't see videos from the 90s, from the 80s. We didn't see any of the videos from what we saw. Guys, I was in practice with you in Cleveland, several occasions. Nothing was leaked from inside those walls. When that video is released, it is now 2022. How does that change things? And to your point, Channing, is that what it is? Is it just over?
Well, it's over. I think it's over internally, right? Because it's not like you can replace Jordan Poole or Draymond Green. So you're basically like, hey, get together like brothers. You got to figure it out. I don't give a fuck if you like each other or not. I can't trade you, and I can't trade you because they're trying to win a championship. So get it together. And then number two, if I'm anyone else in the Western Conference, I'm paying big money for that to go out to try and ruin the Golden State Warriors.
Yes, that's
the only way
care.
You can beat them.
Channing.
To get rid of one of them. It's the only way you're going to beat them. They are that good. Yes, $1 million, easy. Bow. What? How much you want for that?
You think someone was paid $1 million to do that?
More than
it's worth millions. Think about TMZ watermark, hundreds of millions of views. There was a press conference because of it, like millions of dollars. That is worth.
I'm
not saying that they paid $1 million. I'm not saying they paid $1 million.
I was thinking like $100,000.
So that being said, Channing, I got another question. Yeah, Channing, I got a question for you. You're talking about the NBA. You're also talking about the current NBA champions. Right. Yeah. So that's not just like, whatever. Channing, okay. So let's say this, you see the video. How much does I know what I think. How much does the other 29 teams in the league care about that video?
Zero.
Not at all.
Zero.
That's what I'm saying.
Why?
What does that do?
What does it do? Because the people are like the NBA, what are they going to say? The NBA is like,
you guys just hang on. You guys just sat here and said that it was a very extreme punch. That was a bit. They don't see it every time. You see scuffles.
But I'm saying. So imagine this. Those guys, most guys, if you've been around the league, you've seen somebody get punched, right? The reason why this is a story is 3 reasons. 1, Draymond Green is a very, very polarizing person, whether that's being outspoken on his podcast, whether that's doing TV, how he talks to people. So that's that's 1 million views right there for that alone. Number 2, the Golden State Warriors had this aura of this perfect team, just beating the shit out of everybody, winning all these games. They got Steph, everyone loves. Clay, everyone loves. Jordan Poole is becoming beloved. Like Andre Iguodala, everyone loves. And then here's this bad boy on that team, which is another 1 million views because now people are like, I knew he was like that. And then number 3, the NBA doesn't ever see these punches. They have done since the late 90s, since the 80s, have done a great job of making sure that guys don't do this on TV. This is drama when it doesn't, this is not funny, but the best meme was the fuck around and find out meme. Right? And it's you fucked around chart. And then you found out. Yeah, you found out.
7.
So it just shows that no one's perfect and that there is a sense of violence. Whether we like that or not, that is going to get people to watch that 1,000 times, 1 million times. Mm-hmm. People, and then you get Black Twitter on it, right? Then you get all the players. NBA Twitter. And then all of a sudden, guys are like, "Oh, we'd have to fight every day." And this, you're like, "Shut up! No, you wouldn't. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not going in there fighting every day.
This is assault." It's like, you never played sports. Not only did you not play sports, you didn't have a brother or sister. Like, Allie. Yeah. You and your twin siblings. What is the worst swing, punch, elbow you've ever thrown at your brother or sister?
Oh, you hit him hard.
I pulled hair.
You're a hair.
You look like a hair puller.
Let go of my hair. Let go of my hair.
I mean, it's the easiest form of defense.
Okay.
But I did get a tech in high school. I did get a tech in high school. I shoved a girl in a game. I pushed a girl 2 hands down. Oh. Yes.
Did you ever see a punch thrown in practice or in a locker room with girls or women, excuse me?
No.
Y'all must not been good then.
No, we pulled hair. We pulled hair.
You guys have pulled
hair.
Oh,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of cute.
Oh God,
Richard. I'm like, hey, how much for that
wrestling? Was there like a tablet? Was it a pool of Vaseline?
And like, I'm gonna be honest, like,
was there a pool of
noises did y'all make?
I'm gonna be honest.
Hey, Richard, I said, listen, we could get a group together and buy that video. We'll be good.
I apologize to all of our listeners and viewers watching this right now because we are not turning this into a lighthearted moment.
Sorry, wait, too late.
Having said that, I understand
it's not lighthearted. The jokes are pretty good, though.
Yes, touche. Having said that, I understand where you're going because I've sat in practices in NBA gyms. Like, I know where you're going.
You've seen enough scuffles to know that this shit happens more often. I guess it's probably more surprising that it doesn't get out. That's probably.
But I haven't seen that part.
Yeah, that part.
And I haven't seen what I saw with the Draymond. I haven't. I'll be honest.
You want to know the biggest? And you want to know the biggest impact that this thing had? If everybody wants to be God honest truth, Channing, tell me, am I wrong? Every single team changed their protocol fucking immediately to make sure that this never gets out because they know they're not going to stop fights. They're not going to stop. You can't have 6'5", 250-pound grown men competing for millions of dollars athletically and not have emotions or like get the best of them. It's going to happen. Like guys are going to push themselves and each other to the brink. That being said, every team probably changed their protocol. Like if this happens, there's one specific person that has to go get those tapes and fucking burn them to make sure this shit don't ever get out. Because this could cost people jobs. Like presidents, coaches, GMs. If this would have been this could have been the last straw if you were talking about a subpar team, not the Golden State Warriors. But if this would have been one of those teams where a coach or a GM was on the hot seat, remember the GM from Portland? Oh no, from Orlando. He took the picture next to the draft guy and had like all the draft stuff.
Yes,
all of the stuff on the board where it was like Aaron Gordon, like possible trade, like places. It is like, what are you doing? Like that.
Well, the crazy part to your point is, well, one is the person that did it probably got paid mad money and didn't care about their job, and two. This is my next questioning and layer of thought here is, as Steve Kerr said, the amount of fist fights he has seen over his career, right? That in of itself and the issue that they have is number one, right? But the second layer is how the video was leaked. So now what does that do if you are a part of the Warriors organization right now as a player, when this is one thing I do know, y'all operate off of trust. Whether it's as teammates or even those individuals that are in that building with you every single day, on the airplanes, going in and out of hotels, etc. You trust the people that you're with. And now, do you have to walk around with your head over your shoulder thinking every single thing? Like, how much is that factoring? You
should be aware of it. Players are more aware now. You're definitely aware of like, don't do some stuff. You're more aware. But I think that, if I'm being honest, and I want to hear Channing's thoughts, is I would view this as like a, hey, team, franchise, y'all better like tighten your shit up. Like, because like people will lose jobs. Things will happen. Draymond, like hypothetically, Draymond could probably sue somebody, right? Like something happens in a practice, blah, blah, blah. If this affects his money, if this were, and again, maybe it's not him, but these things like, yes, you're being recorded, but to have these things leaked when it was supposed to be an internal issue, and then imagine if he were to get suspended now, but it was already handled internally. There's just so much BS that teams don't want to deal with for something that's unavoidable. So I just think that you don't have to worry about walking around there, but I think team officials will be on high alert to make sure that like this shit doesn't get out again.
You know, as you were talking, I was thinking of like, what is the easiest way to be, I think the word is precaution, like to take the most precaution is during practice, right? Before you send that video to a coach, to anyone else, somebody is in that video room that represents the team. And if something like that happened, they go immediately delete all that. And then, film what needs to be filmed and then send that out. When you give everybody all practice to review, what if it was, a player, right? What if it was what if it came from Jordan? So he goes home, got a little bruise, and it's one of his boys or somebody, and somebody's like, hey, what happened? And he shows them the film. And they're like, okay, He puts his thing down, he leaves, and they film it on their phone. Like the fact that it got out of like the minute that it is viewed somewhere, it needs to be deleted. And then after that, everything else can be shown. But somebody's now going to have to sit back there and be like, delete that, and then clip this. Here's what you send out.
Wait, because we all know about television. Do you know how many lines checks they have to go through to get the coach's audio out? Like there's when they do the coaches mic'd up, when the coach is mic'd up, do you know like there's like multiple team, like NBA, there's like 5 checklists before that. And there's people that are sitting there ready to go because this is a technical thing that they have to, it's real time. So it's like they have multiple places where, do you remember that conversation where Steve Kerr was having with Kevin Durant and the Warriors were like, Steve Kerr was pissed that it got out because everybody in the Warriors were like, oh, this is fine. Or what? Because it's like, they're just, if there's 5 checklists that you have to do to get a coach's sound from a national television game. Imagine like the things that they will do to suppress this type of stuff.
Do you know how much stuff doesn't get out
Oh,
when it comes? Oh, that's like golden, but it's like after hours.
That's what kind of makes it fun for us on the inside. It's like the NBA is the most dramatic league in the world. Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, the NBA is 10 times more dramatic if you're fucking involved. It is 10 times more dramatic. Like the stuff that it's only fun for us because as media members, watching the outrage over the 5% of shit that you guys know is.
But it's so funny.
It's so funny. Okay, that's part of the thing that's funny.
My last thought on this, and then we'll wrap this conversation up. Obviously, Draymond addressed it from his side of things that the way in which he responded with that punch was not indicative of contracts, et cetera. It was something off the floor that was kind of internally festering with him that allowed him to unleash that way. Having said that, Jordan Poole is eligible for a rookie extension. They were hopefully working to have that done by October 17th. Obviously, the Warriors' first game is the 18th. And then Draymond has a player option waiting at the end of this season. Does this moment affect or change the status of anything on either side for them moving forward in terms of a deal and what that looks like?
You know what? That bruise that he got, put that ice in that bag of money Jordan Poole's about to get. Listen,
what? He's going to get that bag anyway.
Get the bag.
Yeah, that
okay, so not for Jordan. How about for Draymond?
Look, can we first start with that? Go ahead. Winning cures everything. Winning cures everything.
Like, who cares? Like, they both have, to me, they both have equal value to winning a championship. If you look at this from 30,000 feet, everyone's jumping on it because it's news, and there's really not a lot of other stuff going on. Number 2, you're thinking, and I said this at the beginning, can I replace Draymond Green this year? Steph is getting older. Clay's getting older. Andre Iguodala came back for his last year. You have a nice mix of Wiseman, Wiggins, Kuminga. All those guys you have a really good chance of winning another, maybe 2 championships. You're not breaking that up over a punch. You're like, go get in the hug t-shirt. When my kids hit each other, I put them in one t-shirt and I put them in the hug t-shirt for a minute. Yeah. I'm like, there you go. People know, like, figure it out.
Think about it. For people, the best way to understand this is that before it was leaked, there probably wouldn't have been a penalty. Just to let you know, the world that we. No. What I'm saying is that it was that, like, if you're going to suspend him for opening night, you're not going to do that. So think about it. Let's put this in perspective.
I mean, they suspended him for Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
Yes,
that was the NBA.
I know. I'm just kidding.
That's the NBA. No, but okay. Let me first address this. I thought Draymond did a very good job at his press conference. One thing that people do need to understand, and look, Draymond maybe he has some anger issues, maybe he doesn't. But
don't we all?
I'm not going to speak like a clinical, like I'm a doctor here. But everything that we see, he's fiery. Channing, you've had personal things happen to you while you were a player, and you know that way that's affected you. I'm glad that you're doing that while I'm talking about your parents passing. You're just,
it's my coping mechanism.
Both of you. It's both of your coping mechanisms.
And the same with me. Sometimes people forget. And like, yes, well, I don't walk into my accounting job and slap somebody. I'm like, yeah, but your job is not the same as what these individuals are forced to do, while they're also could be dealing with stuff off the court. So for that, Draymond, like, I hope, brother, whatever you're dealing with, man, like you get it solved. I get that. Sure. I understand that. Mm-hmm. We respect it. That's why, like, I'm not handling this like, oh, damn it, Draymond. He knows what he did. He knows what he did was wrong. Everybody knows. And for him to stand up there and talk the way he did and address the questions and be honest and open and vulnerable, true. I'm glad that he did that. And I think that that's probably the best way to start the healing process was like, hey, look, I'm a flawed individual. Hey, but also this, Jordan, like we're teammates for now and I helped you make money. Your bag would not be as high if you would not be on this team. You would not be a champion if it wasn't for the work that I put in and motivating you and grinding with you. So even though I did this and maybe our friendship ain't going to be the same, doesn't change the fact that like I helped you be a champion. We helped each other be a champion. And we've seen that same support with other guys, like maybe not a punch, but you've seen guys say things about each other and still be able to kind of, push that aside and like, hey, let's just go try and win a game. Like Russell Westbrook had his knee chopped off by Patrick Beverley and was forced to have surgery on his knee from Patrick Beverley going and diving for a ball. And now these guys are teammates. They've been talking trash about each other publicly. There was a surgery that had to happen with Russell Westbrook and Patrick Beverley. And these guys are friends now. I'm not saying that they're going to dinner and vacations, but they're laughing and joking as teammates.
And I think the other difference there was that this is two teammates versus they weren't teammates, Russell and Patrick, when that happened, correct?
I look at it as men. I look at more as men. Men can move. Men can figure out ways to move on. That's the one thing. Yeah.
Tuck it away in the emotional pocket and win a bag.
Suppress it. Way
Be
down.
A man. Break your back.
Down. No feelings. Just pure goal-oriented drive.
Guys, good thoughts, good insights.
Thank you.
As it stands today, Draymond's taking some time away to work on himself, give the team some space, and allow everyone to heal. So, but you know what is a contender in our lives, conditional or not?
Oh, shoot.
Our next,
I already know what this
our
is.
next partner.
Let's go.
It is a product that we all love, take, and enjoy. Taking and putting into our bodies every single day. It is called Athletic Greens AG1. Guys, did you take yours today?
Well, I do.
Absolutely.
I'm staring at my tin right now.
You what?
I said I'm staring at the tin can right now. The green 10.
I was like, that's not what goes in there. So if you do not know what it's about just yet, it is obviously 1 scoop of AG1 and 8 ounces of water a day, or we've got the packets to go. They have the packets to go. It's packed with 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, and even probiotics. If you are one that has to take multiple vitamins a day, you can ditch those. It is all in this 1 scoop of greatness and goodness. Helps with energy, clarity, all of the fun things. And you can just mentally know that you've got your greens for the day. And we want to help you out. So to make it easier, Athletic Greens is going to give you a 1-year free supply of immune-supporting vitamin D in 5 free travel packs. We love those. With your first purchase, all you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/roadtrippin and take ownership over your health and pick up the daily insurance that you need today. Again, go to athleticgreens.com/roadtrippin. Get started today. All right. Shall we transition into a much lighter and fun topic?
Yes.
How about Wemby? When I say Wemby, what comes to your mind?
Dude, the greatest prospect we have ever seen.
Yes.
Ever.
Thank you.
What he is doing.
People are so stupid.
Yes. Ridiculous. He's 7'5". He's arguably one of the most skilled 18-year-olds ever.
He's 18.
7'4". French player with an 8-foot wingspan.
Come on, you're fucking joking. He can stand there and touch the rim.
It's little sweaty pits. Hey, listen. Oh yeah. Don't listen. It is people. I hate. Okay, because we're gonna clip this. This is gonna go on social media. People.
Thanks for telling us how to do our jobs.
It was not a there because I know what they do. I know Jeremiah. They're great at their job. People. We're not saying this from like a recency bias. There's examples in history of this. When I said that LeBron James would probably go number 2 in this exact same draft,
Absolutely.
let me explain to you history. Where did Michael Jordan go? Michael Jordan went 3. Why? There were 2 bigs taken in front of him. You had Sam Bowie and you had Akeem Olajuwon. Understandably, the NBA will always go with size. That's just the way it is. We're talking about Michael Jordan hit the game-winning shot as a national champion freshman, like all the hype from at that time. Fast forward, where did Luka Doncic go? He went 3rd behind DeAndre Ayton and Marvin Bagley. Teams always go with size. LeBron James at 6'7", who is the most hyped, partly because he lived here. If Wembanyama had been going to Oak Hill and was from Georgia, we would be freaking out over him. It's because he's from France. So when I tell you this, Kevin Durant went the 6'11" 2 guard. Kevin Durant went number 2 to the big man. Do not sit up here. And again, if he was drafted by the Cavs, that's a caveat. Maybe Cleveland would have been like, we're going to go with the hometown boy. I get it. But if we're talking about rating, there has never been a prospect with this type of skill set that we have ever seen in the history of the game of basketball.
Allie, think about how unguardable Kevin Durant is, and then give him 5 inches. Stop. How do you guard him? Who do you resurrect Yao Ming to guard Yao Ming, and Kevin Durant had a French baby?
Rudy Gobert was looking up at him. Rudy Gobert was looking up at him.
Huge.
Rudy Gobert is huge, yo. Rudy Gobert is one of the biggest.
He's going to transform basketball.
Got to stay healthy.
How do you guard him?
You can't.
He stays healthy. So 2 things I look at. Number 1, his shoulders. So where Chet has small shoulders and a long back.
He's like skinny Giannis. He looks like he could be Giannis.
A skinny Giannis. In his motor skills, he was doing dunks, and my wife was like, is that a real rim? This big motherfucker was throwing it through his legs like a windmill and catching and booming this shit. Allie, he was doing windmills. Like he was on a Nerf hoop. To be that big, usually they run like this. Did you see him guarding? He's blocking people, shooting step backs because his feet are most of the time.
Allie, we're not done raving. Allie, we're not done raving. We're not done raving. There's another thing
I wasn't going to stop you.
Okay, Allie, we're not done raving.
Defensively, I think he's better than he is offensively, which is disgusting. Look what Evan Mobley does look what Evan Mobley does for a team.
I love Mobley.
At 6'11", you love him. Think about, you took Mobley, and then you had a little sprinkle of Kevin Durant, right? Then you had some skills, and then you go, here you go. You're 6 more inches.
Yo, this is, look.
8 feet, Allie is so...
He's 7'4". He's set with this.
My thing was when he had that clip of him when he got beat at the free throw line, and the guy was already almost at the rim, and the dude just turned and just like blocked him. But he was still like at the freaking free throw line. Like,
well, the part that people don't understand is we are not saying that he is going to be Kevin Durant. I'm not saying that he's going to be better than Michael Jordan. I'm not saying he's going to be better than Kobe or LeBron. What I am saying is he has a combination of physical gifts and physical talents that, let's be honest, a lot of time you're drafted on your potential. There has never been a player that we've ever seen in the history of the game of basketball with that type of potential. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the all-time leading scorer, has hit 1 3-point shot. This kid went 7 for 11 from 3. He went 7 for 11 from 3, but understand this also. When you're talking about LeBron James developed into a very good shooter. He did not come into as a very good shooter. Another thing, and I'm going to give a personal example. I remember sitting at a table with T-Mac, with AI, with Vince, and listening to them talk about LeBron. Right? Like, yo, the kid's talented, but like, is he going to play point guard? It can't. AI was like, better not come out here and try and guard me. Like, cracking jokes. Listen to the way that NBA players talk about that guy. Giannis said, he's how I envision all basketball players to be in the year 2044. That's what Giannis said. The Greek freak, the guy that we're like, he's a freak of nature, is looking at him like that's the advanced version of basketball. LeBron is calling him an alien. They're like, no more unicorn shit. That's an alien. When you hear players talk about him, like, bro, anybody that wants to argue that he's not the greatest prospect that we've ever seen, they don't
watch him some more. Watch him some more. Also, you don't think, and the NBA doesn't want to hear it, but teams are about to go full no limit soldier, tanking the shit. I said this on NBA TV, and Brendan Haywood said, hey, make them say, because they're going to be tank king. Grandma's going to be out there. You might as well bring the G League boys up now. People are going to have broken toes.
Who do you think he's going to go to if you look at the teams right now?
No, it doesn't matter. There's going to be teams that like make this, and they will lose. Because even to be, because it's
they're going to lose.
There's like a certain percentage, and then you go to the next tier. To be in those tiers, they'll do. Don't forget, Tim Duncan, the Spurs had like a 2% chance to get Tim Duncan, and they got him, right? Like, do whatever you got to do to increase your percentage, and rightfully so. Like, you should tank as much as you would like to tank. Like,
have you guys seen the movie, Giannis's movie Rise on Disney? Yeah. It's an incredible story about obviously his upbringing. It gives you a whole different understanding of who he is, et cetera, right? I want to know, why haven't we heard of this guy until just recently?
Man,
where has he been? You don't just come out 7'4".
No. I mean, so
hang on.
3 years ago. 3 years ago.
3 years. Okay.
I was eating dinner with a GM, a buddy of mine, and he goes, I was like, man, what about this kid, Amani Bates? Right? And he was like, no, he said he's good, he's skilled, small chest, and his teammates don't necessarily like him, which we end up finding out is true. He goes, the team that people are going to hide underneath the bed for and literally kick that bitch out of bounds is this kid. And he showed me the video of this kid 3 years ago. He just been overseas.
He had 15,
skinnier,
16.
but not as 15, 16. So like he's just not as
old.
He's bigger.
I said, what did he look like?
No, but I'm saying the NBA can't do anything with you at that age. Like they can't.
Yeah.
And even then, unless you bring him to the United States and start the media machine, like come play basketball here, but they're not because he was that big. He signs a professional contract. So he's playing professional basketball for the last
Guess whose team
years.
He's playing for?
Tony Parker's. Yeah, Tony Parker's.
Guess what team traded away all their stars and is going to be boo-boo and said, hey, even Pop said,
DeJounte Murray, you're great, but DeJounte, you're great, and you're 25, but you're not him. You're out of here. We can't lose enough games with him.
Listen to me when I speak.
No.
Did I literally?
We're joking.
Both of you. Joking. I literally just asked you what team you thought he was going to go to, and I said the Spurs. I didn't hear that part. I don't think he's going to go to the Spurs. I don't know. We don't know because I really don't know how the draft ball's going. I just know who are going to be the 3 worst teams. Oklahoma City. I think Orlando could be in that mix again because if they, think about it, if you're not going to be good, don't play around. Don't play around and win 2 extra games you're supposed to.
I think the best team built wise that he would go to where I think it's a good culture. There's 2. One is the Raptors. I think he would be ridiculous on that team. But
Raptors
they would have
are
to
not
be
going to
bad.
win enough. They're going to win too much.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Oh,
I like his fit on the Raptors. And then another team I think he would be really good on would be Orlando. I like Moses' team. That's a tall ass team. Those 2 teams I like.
I still, this is when the eyes really start increasing. And let me tell you this, for anybody that's tired of listening about this kid already, the machine started last week. It's only going to get bigger and greater. ESPN is going to do a Wembanyama watch. They're going to be showing highlights of this kid. He is the number 1 pick. There is no other conversation. He is the number 1 pick. Even if he gets, regardless of, as long as he can breathe, he will be the number 1 pick. No, I'm saying because we've seen guys get injured. We've seen guys get injured and still be the number 1 pick.
Kenyon Martin.
Kenyon Martin. We've seen guys be injured and still be a top pick. He will be the number 1 pick regardless. There's no one else that will come over top of him.
Scoot is good. Scoot is fucking good.
I gotta see more of him because Scoot
is good, but Scoot isn't an alien. Scoot is very good. But he ain't that. You aren't him.
How you aren't him? How would you guys handle? Him. Hang on, really to close up that conversation. You know how in Jurassic World they created that dinosaur?
Yeah.
That's how I feel like
the Indominus
Wembanyama
Rex
has been created.
Yes, he is the Indominus Rex.
Because I just don't understand how at this age hardly has really even had a chance to come into his body how he has so miraculously. But it's incredible.
Mentally, and so I look at like the intangibles, right? Anybody can be skilled, right? And be special. And yes, he's athletic and all these things. His teammates, when he falls down, run to pick him up. He communicates well. Like, they seem to generally like playing with him. He doesn't take awful shots to be the man. Or he's not just chucking him up there. He's extremely efficient. And he's smart because he'll post this guy up. And then he's like, oh, you're smaller? Let me post you up. You're bigger? Let me take you outside. And, his mid-range is nice. His post-ups are nice.
Yeah, don't trust us. Don't trust us. Don't trust us. Trust every scout in NBA history that looks at this. When you go back and look at the draft history, Jordan 3, KD 2, like Luka 3, like you see it. Even if you go and look at John Morant and what John Morant is doing, like even if there was
Darko number 2.
Yeah, think about that. Like Darko went over Carmelo, went over Chris Bosh. Right, like understand that like bigs always are a premium. This guy is not 6'11" and can do this. He's not 6'11" and can do this. He's not 7'1" and can do this. He's 7'4" and can do these things. He shoots like he's KD. He's got a nice handle. He's got an in-front handle. He doesn't just have one of those catch and rips. He doesn't have one of those like catch and rips. He doesn't have one of those. No, he's got the I'm going to look at you, boom, 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 crossover, drive step. And you can see he's not even strong yet, and he's able to do it.
Yeah.
Allie said, fuck this. I'm out.
I'm here.
We're joking. We're joking.
Channing is out on my screen, though.
You're out on our screen.
You know what the other individual was that was garnering attention after Wembanyama and Scoot Henderson?
Ho you fat?
What would you guys do if he was a teammate of yours? If that last name was a teammate of yours?
Oh, it would be. You know what we would do. First of all, I'm so
Where is
mad.
he from that he has that last name?
He's a Frenchman as well.
But that's also I think there's like
he's a French dude with a "ho you fat."
This article says yes.
You remember Hung Young Kim? Remember Hung Young Kim?
Yeah, boomed on his ass.
They were booming on his ass. They were killing him.
No. Are you talking about the big guy from the Blazers?
No. I was talking about the guy that kept giving up. For the Diamondbacks. For the pitcher for the Diamondbacks. Oh, in the World Series, he was losing games in the World Series, coming in as a reliever. Byung Young Kim, poor guy.
Ho you fat. This article literally says Ho you fat is a real person. He's played basketball all over France during a pro career that started in 2008, 2009. And just recently, obviously, everyone came to understand and realize who he was.
So that's
Ho you fat is a great name. Is a great name. It is like if he was.
What do you mean it's an adult?
Is he an adult or is he a kid?
He played on the team.
But how old? But no, some of these kids are young. They're like 18 maybe. And you can play all over Europe. You can start playing professionally like 16, 15 over there. So that versus saying he's 28.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look up his age.
But the kid, guys, just get used to it. It's gonna be. You thought Zion was bad for that stretch. This is going to be what you're going to see, the media machine and the claws come out. I'm telling you, we're on NBA Today. We're already talking about doing like a Webby watch, right? Dude, like we're going to be pumping highlights
NBA
of him.
TV. They literally had a whole section for the kid.
Mm-hmm. Every week we're going to try and mix in highlights because they want to build him up. So when he gets drafted, those ratings are sky high because people want to see what the hype is about, and it is. Like even watching Chet do what Chet does is pretty crazy at his size. This kid is like Chet is like with all due respect, shout out, get help. Chet, this kid's a different level. No, because I like Chet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. It's 2022. We have to say those things. You're welcome.
Yeah,
wow.
Whatever.
To bring this whole conversation full circle of the fights in the 80s versus the fights in 2022. Sorry, we have to take it one step
True.
further.
True.
With that said, we don't normally chase thoughts that are in our comment section, but I think we should, because you guys get this a lot. And I think you guys could actually defend why you do not have the Miami Heat a part of your discussion when they won the Eastern Conference last year. So on last week's episode, we talked about the East a little bit. You guys gave your top 4, and people want to know why
Miami Heat did not win the Eastern Conference.
The Miami Heat.
They didn't have they had the best record, but again, the best record was separated. They didn't even have the best record, did they? Did they have the best record?
I'm going to look up the record.
Miami
for
Heat
you
did.
so
Miami
that we
Heat
have
did. Boston
numbers.
was 2.
Yeah, they were number 1 in the East, but I was looking up
Yeah. I don't view them
the games.
I view them as a conditional contender. They're a contender.
What does that even mean?
A conditional contender. Gosh, the looks on your face. A conditional contender means they can win it if a lot of things go right for them under the right conditions.
They have a puncher's chance.
53 and 29 last year.
They have a puncher's chance. I look at this. The reason why there's always the same franchises and it seems like the same players. Like Kobe Bryant's got 5 championships. Shaq's got 4. Tim Duncan's got 5. LeBron's got 4. And all the same guys in the finals. It's because there's only a certain few guys that can actually lead a team to a championship directly, right? Without any conditions. I don't need, just give me a good team and I am that good. I will lead a team there. Jimmy Butler is a great player, but I don't think he is in that class. So like, unless the conditions are right, I don't think, and yes, they've been to the finals. They were tied 2-2 with the Lakers. Those were great conditions for them. But like, again, there were a lot of things went right for them to get that far. And I just don't think that they're that talented to go win a championship unless the conditions are right.
I think the biggest what if is Bam. If Bam is aggressive offensively, yes, the sky's the limit for them. But what I've seen over the years is Bam is a elite defender in the NBA. In an elite defensive scheme with Spoelstra, offensively, I think he's taken steps back. He's not aggressive when it comes to, there's little face-up jumpers. He's doing a lot of dribble handoffs. He, to me, is one of the most talented big men in the NBA on both sides of the floor, and he creates mismatches. The better that he is offensively, the more aggressive that he is offensively, because they are notorious for going long stretches without scoring. Notorious. But if they can get a bucket or a double team from one of their most willing passers, they will be excellent. But that is not, it hasn't been seen yet. But if they could do it, then I will get on this podcast and say I was wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he can consistently be that guy. He needs to be the guy as much as Jimmy is the guy.
Yeah, Kyle, as I need, I want Kyle to be healthy. If he's healthy, again, no PJ Tucker. I don't think, I think again, people underestimate how important PJ Tucker is to some of these situations. Again, it wasn't a coincidence that the Miami Heat, again, they recovered from their terrible year after the bubble, and last year they were number 1. Now PJ's gone. There's a lot of toughness. There's a lot of consistency. I think, him going from Milwaukee, I think Milwaukee felt, the lack of his presence. I don't know. I look at the Miami Heat. They're a great team, well constructed. They're going to play hard. They're well coached, and they're going to be in the mix. They're going to be in the mix. But I don't think they're better than Cleveland. I don't think they're better than Cleveland. If Miami plays great and Cleveland plays great, and both teams are healthy, in my opinion, I think the Cleveland Cavaliers have a better chance. They got better depth. They got better scoring. Right? They have quality defense. They need the quality. I say that nicely. They need some better perimeter defense, but they have a lot of interior. So I view them in the same tier. Like, I'm not going to say the Cavs are going to win a championship. They don't got nobody that's proven it.
So you consider them a conditional contender. Guys, you're wonderful. What a fun podcast.
This is great. Thank you, Allie, for your time.
Allie,
yeah,
great stuff.
I appreciate you. And your Super Mario t-shirt too, Channing.
That was a dope shirt. It was a dope shirt. I'm not going to.
Now I have to put it in the wash. It's all sweaty and stinky now.
That sounds like any shirt you're going to wear.
Not true. True.
Until next week, we will certainly dive into more things NBA related. We got to hit the Eastern Conference a little bit more. So
Well,
we'll be back for more after that.
We're going to have enough of those drama-filled babies out there in the East. Philly.
Until next time,
Brooklyn.
remember that Richard needs to communicate better to his friends. Thanks to Andy Jaspin for joining us.
Yes.
That's another edition of Road Trippin.
You know.